have to let everybody see the cover. Hindsight 2020. Tell us a little bit about it.
Okay.
The cover, because it's very.
Yeah. The cover is actually done by Gibbs Hightower, and he's the owner of Shadow House Productions. So make sure you find him, follow him. He sent me several different covers, and they're all very different. Actually, on my release party flyer, that eye that's on there, I don't know if y'all seen it, but there's an eye that has all these multicolors in it. That was actually one of the cover options. And I didn't really like it enough for a cover, but I did like it enough to do a flyer. I thought it would be a pretty high flyer.
And so. It is. Seems like it's some good stuff on this flyer. We'll talk about that a little later.
Okay.
All right. So let's just jump right into it, because inquiring minds want to know, how did Carlos become a writer? What inspired you? Tell us about your journey.
Okay. Well, I've always loved poetry. As far back as I can remember, I've always loved it. And as far as me writing poetry, it started when I was about junior, I think, in high school. I was mad at my girlfriend at the time, and we had got into it, and then next thing you know, I just started writing this poem that came to me. And next thing I knew, I looked up and I had 10 poems, and then it was 50, and then it was 100, and basically it ended. Before I really decided that I wanted to put a book out, I had over 300 poems.
Wow. Yeah. Now, I've only just really tipped the top of the iceberg with the book yet, but I understand that this book is so much rawer than the first book, which was Blurred Vision.
Right.
And I loved the book, by the way.
Thank you.
Excellent job. So talk to me a little bit about your transition to your sophomore project.
Okay. Well, Blurred Vision, basically what that title means, or what that book meant, is that a lot of times when we're in relationships, or we're friendships, family issues, whatever the case may be, a lot of things that are blurred, and it's blurred by, your love for that person, denial, all these type of things that can blur your view on what the reality really is. So all the poems came from that place. So with this book, I kind of wanted to do a sequel of sorts. So Hindsight 2020 is kind of like a play on the old saying, hindsight is 2020, which basically means that when you look back, things are perfectly clear. Your vision is perfect. So it's saying that, in everything, a lot of times people think, oh, well, hindsight's 2020, that means it's all going to be good. Sometimes you look back on something and the hindsight's 2020, but it's bad. It's something maybe you didn't want to see. But it's dealing with that reality of what's actually there, whether it's good or bad.
Okay. How much of the book really, highlights your spirituality, or is there a connection there?
Well, yes, there's definitely a connection. I would say that all of it comes from a spiritual place, and the reason why I say that is because even though all the poems aren't necessarily saying, God every minute, or necessarily talking about the church, every gift that we get is from God, I believe. So, I'm not using it for the church every minute, but, at the same time, everything is given to me. A lot of times I'll get an idea for a poem in the middle of the night. So it just comes. I'm not one of those people that can, somebody to say, oh, well, sit down and write a poem about such and such. I can do it, but I prefer to just let the ideas come to me. I feel like that's when I write my best work. And I think that's spiritual in itself.
Well, I have to ask, how important is having a great supporting cast or team? Because you have a phenomenal group that, from what I could see, majority women, not that that means anything, but intelligent, very hospitable, just always keeping you on task. How important is that?
That's very important. I think that, you can have somebody, a person that's a really good business person, and they're just really on point, but if you don't have the right support system, that can really hinder you. I really do believe that, because there's only so much that you can do on your own. So I would say, my parents, my girlfriend, her mother, I have several female friends that are really very supportive of me, and also one of the authors is going to be in my publishing company, which I'm sure we'll get on that later. He's been very supportive. So just a lot of people. I think there's a lot of people in the mix, and just getting different ideas too. I like for people to give me their honest opinion. I don't want, yes people in my corner, somebody to say, oh, that's hot, that's good, and you know, everybody else thinks it's not. So, you know, tell me if you think, oh, you know, hey, that flyer wasn't good, or that poem, you know, they may not like it. You know, maybe still something included in my book, but I'll still take it into consideration. And, you know, it's just, I want a realistic perspective because everybody's not going to like everything.
That's good. Now, this is an appropriate segue into your new projects. You know, gave us a little bit about a new author, and also you have a new publishing company, right?
Yes, I do. I just started that up this year. It's called Seven Sign Publishing. And my book, Hindsight 2020, is the first book to be featured on Seven Sign Publishing. The second one will be John Patrick Adams' book. It's called Naked. And then there's a third book. I can't reveal the title and the person that wrote it, but it's dealing with financial literacy. I will say there's a female that wrote the book, and she's coming from an interesting point of view because it's not just how to get your finances together or a step-by-step book or a workbook. It actually deals with people's different personalities and different scenarios, and as a result of that, this is why you spend the way you do.
Okay. Okay. Would you say that there are any misconceptions with this book?
One that I hope I don't get that I got with the first book, which it was, I mean, it was a catch-22 because I think it brought attention to my book, but at the same time, definitely something misleading that people drew from it, was with the Blurred Vision book, a lot of people would come up to me and say, oh, so you selling vision insurance? Are you an eye doctor? Can you help me? Because I can't see, I need some reading glasses. And I'm like, no, this is a book. It's not, you know, vision insurance. So, you know, hindsight 2020, they may think the same thing with the title. But I will say the cover is so out there that I don't think people would really, at least just looking at the cover, be able to think that, you know, this is something dealing with vision, vision insurance.
Okay. Well, what was one of the most surprising things that you found in your whole creation of this book?
I would say one of the most surprising things was the type of poems that ended up being in it. And what I mean by that is, like I shared earlier, I don't really set out to write a certain way. You know, I do really believe in concepts, and I think as far as business goes, people should have concepts in everything they do because it just makes the vision flow better. Yeah. Yeah, so the concept of Hindsight 2020, the thing I like about it is so open. You know, you can put any kind of poem in there, but I did want to make sure it fit that concept. And a lot of the poems that ended up being in this book that I chose, looking back on it when I first started the creation of it, I didn't necessarily think some of those topics would have ended up in the book, but they did.
Interesting. Well, you know, I think this is a good time to see exactly what your concept looked like.
Okay.
Do you mind?
Sure.
All right. Well, this one is entitled Appetizer, and it reads, I am not your cheddar biscuit, cheese stick, fried green bean, or tantalizing hot wing dipped in the habanero sauce. I am not a left side of the menu option, just to curb your hunger, cleanse your palate, or whet your appetite. Because I am the thirst quencher, and I will drown you. No teaser and preceding the second, third, fourth, and fifth, because I am the first and only, the main course. So have your to-go box on standby, because I am your steak and potatoes, corn on the cob, black-eyed peas, pot full of greens, cornbread, peach cobbler, and Long Island tea. It's like that? Yes, it is. So heed the warning and govern yourself accordingly, because I am not your appetizer, your finger food, happy hour 5 to 7 special, your left side of the menu option. Direct your gaze to the center of the page or look elsewhere. Either way, I remain uncompromised, because I am not your cheddar biscuit. Wow. You have got to tell us what you
What was I thinking about?
Yes, talk to us.
Well, it's, you know, the poem comes from a comical place in a way, but the real root meaning of it is actually something very serious. But as far as the food part goes, you know, people make fun of me at work, and I say, you always eat. You know, I'm always walking back to my desk, it seems like, with some food or something. And the meaning of it, though, the real meaning of the poem is basically saying that sometimes people will put us in an advertiser position. And what that basically is saying is that, you know, they don't want to treat us like the main course or give us the respect that we deserve. So sometimes you have to let people know, hey, I'm not your, you know, bottom option here. You know, I'm, you know, something worth having that respect.
Okay. I like that. I like that. Now, last year when Blurred Vision came out, there was this amazing gathering of loved ones, friends, supporters, fans, shall I say now. And I know that this, because this is a nice looking flyer, I agree.
Thank you.
Tell everybody what's on here. What is this about, this flyer?
Okay. Well, on the flyer, basically it's talking about the official release party. Today is the official release date, April 5th. And the date that I chose, you know, I think there's important things about dates. I chose to do it on April 5th, which is 4 or 5, which equals 9. And the reason why I decided to do that was because every address that I've lived in, some kind of way seems like it equals 9.
Wow.
And it's never, I never go to these places and say, give me an address that equals 9. But it just seems like that's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted my book to reflect that. You know, it's something that just kind of feels natural, feels right to do. As far as tomorrow is April 6th, which is going to be the celebration at Harleaux Plano Retail in Dallas, and or Plano, I should say. And it's going to start at 5:20, and it'll be from 5:20 to 8:20. And basically, everybody will get a chance to come out and have some refreshments and things like that, and get a chance to have a signed copy of my book for purchase. And there'll be some giveaways too. I'll be giving away some free things, free boxes.
Now you mentioned purchase, so we want people to come with a realistic expectation and support you.
Yes,
so how
you.
much do they need to bring tomorrow? Because the cover is free.
Right.
So you're
It's free
opening
cover.
them and introducing them to a magnificent. Harleaux is top of the notch. It
Right.
is top notch. You know, so how much is the book?
The book is regularly priced $14.95. Now I will say tomorrow though, I will be selling it at a promotional rate, which will be less than that.
Ooh.
So if you come out tomorrow, you get to see what that is. But it'll be less than $15, I'll say that.
Excellent. Excellent. I like it. I like it. So what closing comments do you have for inspiring writers and for your fans? Because I'm a fan.
Thank you. Okay, well, I'll start off with fans. I'll say, you know, thank everybody for purchasing my book, my pre-sale of this book, and even my last book, Blurred Vision. For those that may be introduced to my work by watching this video, maybe it's your first time getting a chance to hear any of my poetry. Just thank you for the support, and it really, really means a lot. You know, especially I think when you have, you know, new people that maybe don't know you at all, and then they get drawn into your work. I think that's something that's always really great because they have no bias, you know, no binding to you. They just stumble upon you some kind of way, and they end up, you know, enjoying your work. So I'm definitely thankful for that. And then as far as inspiring writers, I would say, especially if you're looking to publishing, not just writing, but actually putting out a book, just writing. You know, I think a lot of times people get lost in you trying to please people or write something that they think is going to be a hit. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I think that people get lost in what they think other people will write. And there's a poem in there I have about that too, that talks about, you know, just trying to please other people all the time. And also, you know, and this is whether you have a publisher or not. You know, I think sometimes people think that publishers, they're going to shop your book and market your book. And yeah, I think in the old days it was the case, but now publisher is pretty much the person who you pay and they get all of your things together as far as your book. But even a lot of the big publishers now, they're not doing a whole lot of marketing for you. You know, if it's a big name, somebody doing a book, a celebrity, that's what's going to sell it, you know, not the publishing company. So I think sometimes people get that mistaken, is that, you know, they forget that there's a hustle to it. And I think that nobody should write for profit. You know, you should work hard so that you get the profit you deserve, but at the same time, I don't think anybody should go into writing thinking, okay, well, I'm going to sell, you know, 20,000 books and get, you know, X amount of dollars.
Right.
And, you know, you have to have a love for it.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. You know, I've truly enjoyed myself. And not only am I a fan, but I'm also your friend. And so I just want to say thank you for affording me the opportunity to interview you, because when I get to see you on the big stage with Oprah, I can say I remember when that I was on TV 4343 interviewing you myself when we were up close and personal. So again, thank you, Mr. Carlos Harleaux. We wish you nothing but much success with Hindsight 2020. And if there's anything that I can ever do to assist you along the way on your journey, know that not only myself, but a group of your fans and supporters are here to support you.
Thank you. Thank you. I really
Have a great
appreciate it.
evening. This is Lady Di signing off, up close and personal.
Hey.